And we are live. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the show. Today's a little different. Joined by my buddy Adam, and we're really going to talk about, I guess, kind of a number of topics, but primarily focus on fitness, and specifically the bodybuilding world and kind of really the stuff we're into as far as all that goes. Adam is my longtime friend, vegetarian, bodybuilder, former teacher and coach, done a lot of cool stuff. So am I missing anything in that introduction?
No, I just, I was bodybuilder younger, out of college. I played football in college, left that, started bodybuilding, teaching, left teaching, and now Dave and I also work together now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, this episode is brought to you by White Claw, and we're going to give you a little ASMR.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Cheers,
cheers. So, obviously, this show, a lot of times I get pretty political and in-depth and all that stuff. This episode is going to be a little lighter. People, I think, might like that. We'll kind of stick to fitness-related stuff, even though you and I do share similar beliefs as far as all that other stuff goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I mean, we can really take it wherever you want. We just finished a workout, probably one of the best back workouts I've had in a while, and I think I'm still out of breath, so everybody, please forgive me for that. But if you've listened for a while, you're probably used to that too. So, yeah, man, what are we going to talk about?
So we were at dinner last weekend, actually, and I brought up a topic that I thought would be interesting to talk about because I think it kind of covers a wide range of things, and there's a lot of answers to it because it's really changed the way the fitness industry is today.
What is it, butt sex?
Well,
oh no, sorry.
I mean
the other thing we talked about.
The other thing we talked about. Yeah.
Whoops.
No, I think social media, especially Instagram, it's kind of changed the way that I think the direction fitness has gone, even into professional bodybuilding.
Right.
Whether it's Chris Bumstead being the most popular Mr. Olympia ever,
and he's not even an open bodybuilder.
And he's not even an open bodybuilder,
yeah.
Right? He's easily surpassed Arnold as the most popular. I don't think that's even close to a question.
I think in the bodybuilding community, I think like the average global citizen probably recognizes Arnold.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Chris is
but he's
also
been
only
in Hollywood.
26 years old.
Right, yeah.
Chris is only 26,
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild. No, so not only that, but it's allowed someone who was not necessarily a nobody, but somebody who was a fitness trainer who has a lot of knowledge to blow up socially and make a massive income on social media, where a personal trainer 15 years ago was not doing that.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at what social media has done for the fitness industry, a question I wanted to ask to you, and I think that we had a pretty good discussion about it, was has it hurt the fitness industry or has it helped the fitness industry? And I think it goes one of two I think it's a broad spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I think you can really ask that question about White Claw right after a post-workout shake. You can really ask that question about pretty much anything in life. Has social media made it better or worse? And I think with fitness, it's honestly a mixed bag, man, because you have the whole phenomenon of these guys who honestly aren't transparent about the fact that they use tons of anabolics and different compounds.
For sure. And
they only show themselves when they're in the best shape that they could possibly be in, and a lot of the year they're not. And then so you have young guys who see this and they think that that's actually attainable year round, and they end up jumping on drugs and all kinds of stuff way too soon. So, but I would say that was also present with the magazines and everything else. I just think it's a little more prevalent with social media, and so there's that side of it. But also, like you said, social media has allowed people who otherwise wouldn't have been able to reach really anyone kind of scale to reach the masses. I mean, there's all kinds of bodybuilding coaches who've built their business on social media.
100%.
There's athletes who have, really they're They're not like competitive bodybuilders on the stage. They're Instagram bodybuilders, and they've built incredible incomes for themselves. So I think for the fitness industry in general, from the perspective of someone in the industry, it's been a good thing because it's allowed people to scale, to reach a lot of people. But I think that, with great power comes great responsibility. 100%. And you gotta that's why I'm honest about my drug use. And
it took you a while.
Yeah. And I would much rather be completely transparent about what I take and have someone come to me and me tell them how to safely do it if they're going to do it anyway, which look, a lot of these young guys, they're going to fucking do it anyway. They've made up their minds. I'd much rather not lie to them and be like, oh no, I'm completely natural, I don't use that stuff. Because A, they don't believe you, and B, they're going to do it anyway. So I'd rather tell them what, I'm not a medical professional, but here's what I would do, or here's what I have done. Please consult a doctor.
Do people ask you about that often?
Oh yeah. People ask me all the time, and I always say the same thing. It'll be like, what's a good first cycle? And I'm like, look, I'm not going to tell you what you should do. Here's where I would look for that resource, or here's what I did.
There's so many, again, but here's social media too. There's so many outlets where if you really wanted to run a cycle, you could probably find it. Derek, More Plates, More Dates, man, he does a ton of stuff like this, or did. I'm not like a religious follower of his, but Greg Doucette talks about that stuff. Who's
like actual dosages and everything.
I'm not sure about. I don't really look into it, but I know that they talk about the safety of which ones. I know they talk about certain things, and that's another thing too. Is with social media back in like the day with magazines, you didn't know if these guys were on stuff,
right?
Where Ian posted a story. Ian Valier, who's one of my favorites, he posted a story the other day, and someone asked him about it, and he's just like, I would not do that. He's like, we all of us do it, but he's like, he's not going to give out medical advice. But now here you have a guy who's a top 7 Olympian openly saying, yeah, I take steroids, where I don't think that, Arnold or Franco or those guys were out there saying, hey guys, I'm taking steroids.
Not while they were active bodybuilders.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, obviously, a lot of them after the fact have said, "Yeah, of course, we all use stuff."
Yeah,
Ronnie included. Which, if you look at Ronnie Coleman and you don't think that that's a science experiment, man, you're jaded. But no, I can remember being a middle schooler, early high schooler, getting Flex magazine at the grocery store, and looking at Ronnie and Jay and all these guys in the magazines. And I mean, I didn't know anything. We didn't even have the internet to look up drugs and stuff. So for all I knew, they were natural, and you just got to put your time in the gym, right?
You're going to buy their fucking product.
Exactly.
You're going to buy BSN. You're going to buy Muscle
Tech.
Yeah,
exactly. Dude, it was.
I want to look like that guy. Yeah.
I remember saving my money.
How shitty did Cell Tech taste, dude?
It tasted so bad. Supplements have come such a long way. Yeah. Shout out to Phorm, who is not a sponsor of this show, but someone I'm affiliated with. So mentioning supplements. Thanks to you guys. So you kind of touched on the good, right? Yeah.
I want to kind of get into the bad a little bit of it. Now,
what do you think is the worst thing about it?
So it allows people that really don't know a fucking thing, who have massive followings, to put out, hey, here's what I do. You should do it. And in reality, it's like, no, you fucking shouldn't.
Here's how you build your delts.
Yeah, well, no. And I sent you that thing yesterday, where there's this guy who had 250,000 followers. It's like, here's how you should train your delts. He's like, and it's like, take your trap out of the movement, and you should go straight back, and you should lean forward and turn your wrist. And it's like, well, if I'm trying to train a movement, why would I restrict a muscle that is supporting that muscle? And it's like, people are looking at this, and they're like, wow, I should do it that way.
Yeah.
And now you're tearing your labrum, and now you're having shoulder surgery. And I saw a guy who has 850,000 followers. I'm not going to he's fucking shoulder pressing the leg press machine. It's like, come on, man. Now, the thing is and these guys
that's just to show something different.
Yeah, and it's just to show, and it's not safe. So a guy who sees, a young kid who sees this, right, and they post their workouts, and the volume is so astronomical that it's not safe to do that much volume as a 17, 18, 19-year-old who is
natty,
who's new, right? Now they're like, oh, he does 4 sets of this, and there's 6 workouts, and it's like, dude, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's the dark side of it.
So basically, as long as you look a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
you can build a following and blow smoke up people's asses, and they're going to buy it because you clearly you look a certain way. You must know what you're talking about,
And all these people already follow you.
right?
So-
And so that is definitely a negative aspect to it. People who are selling programs and selling coaching and all this stuff and ebooks and whatever who have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But your average consumer, like the average person on social media who's like, all right, I want to build some muscle, and they search a hashtag or something, they come across this person, they don't know they shouldn't listen
Right.
to what they're saying.
Right.
So
Because it's like, the guy looks like that. Why would I not listen to him?
So what do you do about that?
So I think that then there's people like, Paul Carter's a guy who I follow religiously. I think he's very intelligent. He backs it up with science, backs it up with what, movement patterns, and he'll actually go into studies, right? That's someone who I would follow. But on the flip side of that, it's tough because it's like, yeah, that guy might be spewing bullshit, like the first guy we talked about. However, he's getting people into the gym. He's
true.
getting people into a healthy lifestyle. So it's like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
And I had a conversation last week with somebody, and I asked him the same question that we're having right now, a conversation, and she said, yeah, without social media, I'm not going to go to the gym. She's like, I saw a girl, I was like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
So now she's in there working out. Is she doing
good
everything?
point.
Is she ever doing everything the right way? Maybe not, but at least she's in the fucking gym.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think it definitely created a pathway for people to be like, to find someone to admire, to find someone they want to look like, and to get into the gym. But now it's like, as you become, so like someone like you and I who've been doing this for a long time, we see through the bullshit.
Yeah.
And they don't. And I just fear that sometimes ultimately, people get harmed.
Do you think that these people, like the guy we were just talking about, do you think they know that they're so wrong, or do you think that they truly believe in what they're doing?
That's a good question, because because we only see what they record.
Yeah.
So like they might only be recording one workout and then like just putting a bunch of stuff together, where they only do half of that.
Right.
But it's like, oh, to get this big, you have to do this much volume. Where it's like, well, is that true? So do they believe? I don't know, man. That's a really good question.
Because I don't know, because we all knew people, whether it was in high school, college, afterwards, whatever, who are genetically gifted and can walk in the gym and just do anything, and they grow and they look great. And when you're like that, I think that it's very unlikely that you're going to dive into how to do it better and the mechanics of it. And what you're doing is working. So clearly you've got it all figured out, when really it's your genetics. So I wonder if a lot of these people, if it's that, they've always been able to just respond to any movement in the gym and just look good. And they truly think that what they're giving to people or selling to people is correct.
This guy actually fucking shoulder press on a leg press machine?
Right.
Like,
and if he does, I mean, is he doing it for Instagram, or is he doing it because he truly thinks that it actually makes a difference?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? That's the tough part, is like, do these people buy their own bullshit?
Yeah.
Are they shady people, or are they just, dumb people?
yeah, dumb people who fucking have 800,000 followers because of how they came out of their mother's womb.
Exactly.
Well, not that they haven't worked. You know what I mean? Like,
of course. But like, there are people Chris Bumstead hit the genetic, lottery on top of putting in tons of work and knowing what he's doing and having a great coach and everything else. And, there's lots of people. I mean, even if Chris never pursued it seriously, he'd still look pretty dang awesome just as a human, right?
Yeah.
There's guys who just have those genes.
Ian said he was natty until, like, he became, like, an Olympian, which is fucking insane.
That's insane if that's true.
Yeah, like, if he wasn't natty, he was, like, TRT only.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. But another great thing about social media is you really get to, look into these guys' lives. And I think that's really fucking cool.
That is cool.
I think that's like one of the coolest things in the fucking world. Like, dude, Nick Walker does. But the thing is,
I love that guy.
Yeah, me too. And he does Q&As every Sunday, and like you can ask him a personal question, and he might answer it.
Yeah.
And like that was not accessible to Arnold. That was not accessible to Dorian Yates. But like now, when you have Instagram, and you have a Chris Bumstead who actually goes through and sometimes comments on people's comments on his photos.
Yeah.
You know, like, or they're doing YouTube videos where you see what they're eating and what they're driving and what their house looks like. Like, that's pretty fucking cool, man. Like, these guys are superstars in the fitness industry.
Yeah,
and
that is cool.
And like, you know, and I'm a big Fuad Abiyad podcast fan, right? And like when you watch it, it's like, dude, these guys are my boys. You know, you kind of feel like that.
Yeah, you get to really know them.
Yeah, and it's all comes back to social media. So,
all right. So social media, a net positive on the fitness industry.
I think so, man. And like, it doesn't have the dark side of it where it's like you got these maybe, and admittedly, maybe it's jealousy on my part, man. Where it's like I'm kind of jealous that this guy doesn't know shit and he's got 800,000 followers and he doesn't have to like work a day in his life, and like maybe it's a jealousy thing for me.
Well, he's working. I mean, it does.
Right. But you know what I mean?
It's work
like,
to put out content.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's just like this guy is like living a fitness life, and he's like just going to the gym and doing whatever the fuck he thinks is cool and posting it, and people are like, "Holy shit, I want to buy his program."
Yeah,
you know. And meanwhile, I'm here working 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, but at the same time,
so are you just salty?
Dude, maybe I am, man. Maybe did I just have a fucking realization on here, dude? Did I just have a realization I'm salty?
Here's something I want to ask you about, and I think you'd have a good perspective on this. I've seen a lot of guys on Instagram, and they're not necessarily lying, but they just seem disingenuous. And I'm talking about like the plant-based bodybuilders,
okay, vegan
bodybuilders, who are also clearly taking lots of gear,
right?
You know, but they portray themselves as though this physique they have is.
I think it's fucked up.
It seems that way, man, and it's not, obviously it's not something I'm like really into because I'm not a plant-based guy. But like, there's a lot of those guys who are like vegan bodybuilder, and you look at them and they're vascular and striated.
Well, Nemai Delgado's like that, right? That guy's never eaten meat. No, I don't think he goes out and says he's natty or anything like that.
Right. They don't directly say they're natty, but they're also not.
But they're like, you don't need to eat meat to look this good, and it's like, well. Yeah, but you're not just not eating meat.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think they think it's going to affect their personal brand.
If they talk about the drugs?
Yes. Because it's like, how can you be vegan but then also injecting anabolics into your body?
Well, how can you? How do you justify that? You're not vegan. You're vegetarian.
Right.
But.
I don't justify it. You know, I don't. That's tough because it's like.
Well, here's what I think. If I may,
yeah.
I mean, you're a vegetarian for ethical reasons and the fair treatment of animals.
Right.
It has nothing to do with you thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, that a plant-based diet is the optimal diet for human performance.
I think humans should eat meat.
Yeah.
I really do.
But for you, it's an ethical thing.
100%. If, for example, if you went bow hunting, I think Joe Rogan kind of shares the same sentiment. I believe he said the same thing, and I kind of formulated this opinion myself. I think you actually told me he said this. If you went bow hunting and shot a deer, I will never shoot a deer. I don't want to. Killing things is not what I want to do. But if you went bow hunting and shot a deer, and you grilled it, whatever, I would eat it. I haven't had meat, and actually, this is cool. Today's my 5th year of not eating meat today.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Well,
so
congratulations.
Thanks, man.
But see, I admire that. I admire that approach to vegetarianism or veganism because, in my opinion, it's the only valid argument. Ethical treatment of animals, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't make it's real. That's why I had a lot of issues with this documentary.
We're fucking animals, dude.
Right. We have heterodont dentition. We're omnivores.
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to eat plant life and animals. And it's just not optimal not to do so. But I see it as making a personal sacrifice because you care so much about animals.
Right.
In someone like your case. And so I don't really see any cognitive dissonance with like that and taking exogenous anabolics because it's not related. You're not saying that you're healthier because you're vegetarian, right?
That's a good point. That's a good point, yeah.
So, but yeah, on the Joe Rogan piece, what he said was basically he came to the point in his life where he had basically become privy to how bad factory farming is, how badly those animals are treated, and his decision...
And fed and...
Everything. Yeah. And his decision was, I'm either becoming a vegetarian or a hunter. Because if I can become a hunter, I can go out, select one animal, swiftly take its life, and then feed myself for a while.
I'm too big of a pussy to hunt, dude. I
love it. I love hunting and fishing and all that stuff.
Do you throw your fish back?
Yeah, so it depends. I throw all the big ones back because they're honestly not good to eat after a certain size. But catfish in like the 5 pound range, like I'll keep them sometimes. Also because I want
eat them.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I want Carter to experience that, like catching a fish.
But dude, that's
cleaning the fish,
humanistic. That's
eating the fish.
That's what we do. Like that's
exactly.
That's what we've done since the beginning of time. So for me to sit here and say humans shouldn't eat meat, I think that's complete bullshit.
Right.
We've been doing it since the beginning of fucking time.
What drives me nuts? Sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
So many people who eat meat, who eat fast food, who eat all this factory farmed meat. And look, I eat factory farmed meat, but I'm not making these claims that these people are making. And then they say that hunters are bad people.
Yeah.
What?
Trophy hunting.
Trophy hunting is a totally different thing.
100%.
Totally different thing.
100%.
I'm not talking about that. But if you're supporting like animal concentration camps and you're mad at someone who goes out and like snipes one animal, then you're the biggest hypocrite in the world.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And I think it's hard. I think it's hard to like kind of grasp that as a normal person because we're so ingrained in that and it's part of our society.
You just see meat as meat. You don't connect the fact that it was an animal that had to be killed.
Yeah.
So if everyone had to kill their own food, I think there'd be a lot more vegetarians.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people who wouldn't be able to take an animal's life.
Yeah, and I'm one of those that couldn't. And like, I mean, if I had to, I would.
Yeah.
But I prefer not to.
And I honestly, man, I can admire that you admit that about yourself.
Yeah.
So staying on this topic, and I know this is kind of a tangent, but what ultimately was like the straw that broke the camel's back for you in making that decision 5 years ago?
So it initially started, I actually remember this conversation. I called my brother and we were just talking, just a casual conversation. I was like, man, I fucking love animals. He goes, no, you don't. I was like, what? Yeah, I do. Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, why do you eat them? And I was like, yeah, I guess. And at the time I was dating a vegan and she was very cool about it. She was very cool about it, man. Like I cooked my chicken next to her veggies. She didn't give a shit. But as time went on, because she was so cool, I wanted to support her.
Always starts with a chick.
Yeah, I know. Fucking idiot. But, I mean, no, we've been broken up for almost 3 or 4 years now, But my brother said that kind of like as I was thinking about it, and I was like, dude, you're right. And actually, Miley Cyrus said one of the coolest things I've ever heard, man. She said, I can't remember when she said this, but she said, if you eat meat, you don't like animals, you like pets. And I was like, that's true because like you're not going to kill a dog and eat a dog. You're not going to kill a cat and eat a cat.
I would.
I mean, if you had to. I mean, shit, if you had to, right? But I was like, dude, that's kind of true. But then as I got more thinking, it's like humans should probably eat meat. And it's like there's so many benefits to it in terms of like amino acids, in terms of like vitamin profiles and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like we don't know what they're. One of the main things for me was we don't know what they're feeding them. If you're hunting and you see a deer in the wild, it's eating what it needs to survive. It's not being force fed what it needs.
Right.
What these farmers believe they're supposed to be eating. They're not being injected with hormones. They're not like sitting on top of each other eating shit.
Now, when you take that philosophy and apply it to like monocrop agriculture, how do you justify that? Because that's not how those plants are supposed to grow either. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know because it's tough because it's like we have so many fucking people to feed.
Yeah.
That's why I think hydroponic farming is the way of the future. Are you familiar with hydroponic farming? Mm-hmm. I think if you're watching this, you don't know what that is, you should definitely look it up. It's pretty fucking cool. It's basically farming straight up.
Vertical
farming.
Yeah.
And it's that way we don't have massive amounts of land going to shit. We don't have like animals or plants like that are using all this water and stuff like that. It's almost regulated.
Yeah, and less habitat destruction.
Exactly. And I think that's really cool. I think it's a really cool. Cool concept. Yeah. I don't know when it's going to like materialize or take take shape or form for the long term, but I think at some point it has to almost, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean the world's population isn't going down.
No, fuck no.
So like, we have to keep sustaining all these people.
How did we get into this, by the way?
We talked about you being a vegetarian. That's the way this podcast goes, man. We start with bodybuilding. Next thing you know, we're talking about hydroponic farming and the exploding world population. Yeah. And then we'll probably find some segue into something else. But that's the beauty of conversation. Like, that's why I love doing this, too.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's really cool.
But no, I admire, and I've told you this before, like, I admire people who make the choice to be vegetarian for ethical reasons. Yeah. I admire that. It's not for me. You know, I've definitely want to improve my impact on the natural world and animals specifically by doing a lot more hunting to sustain my meat supply.
Yeah, but okay, think about this, man. You go hunting and you kill, let's say you kill 2 deer, right? And that's going to feed your family for fucking 7 months probably, dude.
Yeah.
What, like 2 deer, right?
Yeah.
How many animals are you actually saving that you're not going to the grocery store to support? Dude, it's astronomical.
Yeah, because you get like a pack of ground beef, and God knows how many cows died to go into that.
Exactly. So. And like it's that little, and that's why if people stop eating meat, man, like, and this is not me advocating for everybody to go vegan or vegetarian. If like 1 or 2 days a week would literally save a shit load of animals, like to the point where like hundreds of thousands a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
you're by yourself. Yourself.
The thing about that is, yes, but the animals. It's a weird thing because most of those animals only coming to existence for the purpose of harvesting, right? So, if you stopped eating meat, yes, you would save animals, but ultimately it would impact the supply chain such that they would just produce fewer animals.
But do you think it could ultimately keep the supply chain in full effect, where like there's animals that are maybe starving because they're being kept out of these farms and they can't like organically hunt them, right? So if I have a fox who eats fucking roosters, right, but we're like harvesting roosters, right?
Yeah. Well, it'd be harvesting chickens.
What? Fuck it.
Fucking vegetarian.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even fucking know. I don't even fucking know.
It's like the other day we were talking about bull milk. You were like, Dave, bulls don't have. I'm like, I know I'm talking about jizz, Adam.
Yeah, but it's just like, but like if you don't have all these chickens being harvested, then we have more fox that are not going to go extinct. And this is just a fucking, I'm just spitballing here, like an example. But like now you're not going to have fox going extinct because they have what they need to eat. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the grand scope of like the cycle of life, essentially, you know?
Yeah. Another thing along
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, in general it does. I mean, so a lot of chickens being raised on a farm aren't food for foxes anyway. Right.
I was just using. I don't know what they eat.
No, I get what you're saying though, but and this is kind of related to that. But another thing about hunting is, if you think about the life of a wild animal, like the life of a deer, almost all of them die in a horrible way.
Jumping over a fence and getting cut in half.
Getting eaten by a predator.
Yeah.
Getting eaten by a bear ass first.
Yeah.
Like, or they make it into old age and they die of a disease outside trying to survive, keep up with the herd. Like, they all die in a horrible way. There is not a comfortable laying in a bed.
What the fuck do deer eat, by the way? What do they eat? What is their purpose?
To feed bears and wolves and humans. But so there is an argument that, like, when you take a deer as a hunter with a well-placed shot, that's really the best way that deer could die.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, if they get eaten by a pack of wolves, that would be terrible. If they get eaten by a bear, that would be terrible. A mountain lion, whatever. If they die of disease, that's terrible, right? If they get into a fight with a rival buck and they get their eyes gouged out and now they just starve slowly because they can't see, that's terrible. They could freeze to death. You know, there's all kinds of, like, there's no good ways that a deer or any other animal living in the wild is going to die.
Right.
It's just not going to happen, even with predators.
Yeah, if they're fucking rotting and they're dying of like cancer or something, there's something that's going to fucking
eat them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's that to think about when you say like, oh, a hunter's a horrible person killing an animal. It's like, well, do you think a bear is a terrible thing for
Right.
killing an animal and eating it.
And
If I'm killing an animal and eating it.
And then like the vegans' argument is, well, we have access to other things. Well, yeah, we do.
So do bears.
Exactly.
Bears eat berries and all kinds of
Again,
things.
and this is coming from somebody who doesn't eat meat. I understand that we have other means to eat. We don't have to kill deer, whatever. But as humans, as fucking animals, to this day, I haven't had meat in 5 years. When I smell a burger cooking on the grill, my fucking mouth waters, bro.
So good.
My mouth fucking waters.
It's so
And
good.
again, I haven't had this shit in a while, but it's just natural instinct.
I'm eating a burger tonight.
I'm just saying it's natural instinct to like desire that like flesh in your mouth, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, as stupid as that sounds coming from somebody who doesn't eat meat, man, it's fucking true.
Well, we're naturally inclined to be attracted to nutrient dense energy sources,
Yeah.
and meat is one of the most, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just makes sense in that context too. But it's like ultimately, I'm not one of these people who I just hate in general, like forcing your way of life on other people.
I'll never do that.
That's one of my biggest issues with vegans in general. The ones who attack you online and attack your character and call you a horrible person and all this stuff. It's like, look, man,
I'm sure you have worse than that happening to your Instagram, brother.
I have a lot. I have a lot, dude. Man, according to some people, I'm the worst fucking human on earth.
God damn you for sitting up against fucking racism. Let's not get into politics, but God damn you, dude.
Yeah, how dare I? I mean, even Instagram doesn't like it. But that's what I can't get behind is like attacking people. Like even with the politics stuff, like I don't seek out some extremely lefty account and talk shit on their posts. Like
you gotta be some kind of low life for that, dude.
I've never done that in my life.
Yeah, you've gotta be.
I create what I create. I post what I post, and I put it out there. I don't go and comment on other people's stuff, especially to argue with them or to talk smack to them. Like, I just don't believe in that. There's a lot of people who do. I get them every day. But that's my whole issue with, like, the vegan community, too, is they are, there's really, like, the people who are live and let live, like yourself. And I know you're not a vegan, but, and then there's, like, the extreme ones who are like, you know, you're the devil. You should die instead of that animal. I would kill you and your family if I could.
Like the girl who covered herself in her fucking period blood. Like, what the fuck is that?
Stuff like that.
What the fuck is that? Like, what are you trying to prove?
I would love to like see these people just lose all the creature comforts of modern day and have to survive in the wild.
Like, they wouldn't be able to. They're gonna pick fucking berries off a tree? No.
Right.
No.
Right. Well, how long would it take before they're trying to eat a fish?
Yeah.
Right. Or eat a squirrel or a rabbit, you know?
But dude, that's another thing too, man. Like, going back to social media, like what it's bad for and like what it's good for is, dude, it gives you access to just be an absolute piece of shit.
It does.
You know, like gearing it back into fitness, like when someone wins a show or like Nick Walker's got the veins on his legs or something, like people attack that shit, man. And it's like, Nick's like, I've got them checked. Mm-hmm. They are fine. Yeah. Just like, you know how he talks.
I love the way he handles that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like, dude, this man has been doing this shit. He's a professional bodybuilder. He's going to be one of the best in the world this year. Do you think he didn't get this shit checked out? And it's just like, man, like, and then like Ian wins, right? Ian should have lost to Phil or like Clar, not Heath. People think then it's like, yo, all 5 judges were not wrong.
Right.
You know? And it's just like, but people are like, Ian, you should have lost. Ian has no fucking calves. It's like, bro, don't like you have to be a sad human being to seek somebody else out to make something negative on their content.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be a pretty sad human being.
Yeah. Well, I've talked about this before, and I really think that is a lot of people who are dissatisfied with their own lives, and they want to look anywhere but inward. Yeah. I'll keep talking. Yeah. Adam's going to grab some beverages from the fridge. But I think that it's people who are dissatisfied with their own life, and instead of dealing with their own stuff, they'd rather project it outward and attack other people because it's a lot more difficult to face your own BS, you know? That's how I feel. Anytime I get a negative comment, I'm like, wow, this person took time out of their day to do this. Like, I kind of feel bad for them.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Yeah.
Why do you respond?
Why do I respond?
Yeah.
I don't respond to all. In fact, I respond to fewer than I don't respond to. A lot of them I just delete, and a lot if it's like ad hominem attacks or people saying really mean stuff, I just block them.
Okay.
The ones I respond to are if I feel like the question might be something that multiple people would raise, or it's a question that they have somewhat of a point that I should address.
Let me ask you this now. Let's kind of gear this towards, because we don't want to get political, but
I always say that. I always do.
I know. I'm going to try to steer away from there. Let's say it was on your physique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you handle it the same way? Because, dude, I'll tell you what, man. I don't like people talking shit about my physique, man. It's like, because this is kind of like my life. Like, I wake up and I love the shit. I eat the way I eat, and I do what I do because, like, and I think, I don't know how they do it, bro. I really don't. Because, like, if I post a picture, I'm like, dude, I look fucking great in this picture, and someone's like, yeah, you have no fucking calves, dude. I'm like, dude, fuck you. And I'm going back to him, man. You know, it's like, how would you handle that? Like, and dude, these guys have hundreds of thousands of followers, so they get this often.
You get, and you just get thick skin to it, man, and you just get to where you can't even take the time to read all of it anyway. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Black cherry is so much fucking better than the grapefruit, dude.
Yeah, thanks for the grapefruit.
I had to,
you
man.
gave me.
I had to.
Black cherry's my favorite. But so I don't have anywhere near the following that these guys have, and I can't keep up with all my comments a lot of times. And you just I think they don't see a lot of them, right? Because a lot of people, a lot of these guys are busy. Like, they make their post and then they go on about whatever they're doing. They're not sitting there refreshing, looking at all the comments. So there's that. But then I think also it's kind of the same deal. You just get to where you're like, for me anyway, I'm like, why do I care about what this person
exactly,
thinks?
man. Yeah.
Like, I don't know this person. This could be a 12-year-old. Like, I don't know anything about this human. And that's another thing that people have to remember a lot of times when you get, especially if it's like a private account and they don't have like a real profile picture. It's like, it could
that's even fucking worse, man.
It could be a 14-year-old kid, and you know how shitty 14-year-old kids are.
Yeah. Just
sitting at home trolling people because they can. So you can't take that stuff to heart, you know?
Yeah. You know what's funny, man, is when I'm obviously vegetarian, and I used to post more about it than I do now. And I used to get shit from, like, vegans being like, do you know what you're doing to, like, do you know what baby cows do? Like all this shit, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, I know. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I understand that.
Well, because you still, like, drink milk or
I eat eggs, and
eggs.
Yogurt and stuff like that, and or like cheese, whatever. And it's just like, do you think that the cheese is worth this life? And they send me videos. It used to be pretty bad. I don't post much anymore at all, really.
Yeah.
But dude, it used to be pretty bad. Like, I would probably get 2 or 3 a week. You know,
if you want to see really good ones, follow some of these carnivore diet guys.
Oh, I'm sure. But the thing
is,
to
see what the vegans say on their comments.
Yeah. Like, okay, so one thing I will say is kind of fucked up about that is there's a guy who, like, and I think you follow him because you post him before or something. Is like the bear hunter guy. He, like, exclusively hunts bears. Or maybe Joe Rogan has it. It's like bear oil or butter or something like that.
Oh, bear grease.
Yes, bear grease.
Yeah.
And, like, this guy goes around just killing bears. I think that's kind of fucked up.
He doesn't just kill bears. He hunts lots of stuff. And his podcast is called the Bear Grease Podcast. And so Clay Newcomb is his name. He's actually a really intelligent guy, like historian of Appalachian culture. He calls his podcast the Bear Grease Podcast because bear grease was actually really big back in the day, like in frontier times. Okay. It was actually used as a currency. A lot of people don't know that. It was like the best source of grease or oil in North America.
But you like trade and stuff?
Yeah, you would use it for trade. Like, you would trade like a canister of bear grease for like 3 horses, like
really?
That kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh. So it's like got this really deep history, and a lot of people don't know about it. And so that's why he names his podcast that. He's a bear hunter. I think he kills like 1 a year or something, which, you know, you can have your issues with that.
Oh, is that it? 'Cause it seems like when the way he posts, it makes it seem like he does this shit on the weekends.
Well, I think that you're not even allowed to do that. Like, there's tag limits and stuff. Maybe it's a couple a year or something like that. But, like, yeah, I mean, and look, people can have issues with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I will say that, you know, he's one of these people that he eats the bear, like, he eats all the parts, all that stuff. He's not a trophy hunter. And, you know, there's very like stringent requirements with like predator hunting. Like they have to be of a certain age and size and maturity so that they've already had a chance to breed and all of that stuff. So, and then it also allows...
Didn't Trump make trophy hunting illegal in some capacity, or like he passed some animal cruelty law, right?
He did. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. What a piece of shit he is, huh?
Yeah, I know. But they don't. Well, that's why you can't remember, because they wouldn't talk about that. They don't talk about any good stuff he did.
Yeah, it's sad. But no, I didn't know that. And if he's doing that, I guess I'll have to retract my initial thoughts. But the way he posts makes it seem like it's more often.
What's his brand? Yeah. I mean, it's his whole thing. Is like
what do they do with? What is the point of bear grease? Like, what is it?
It just.
Is it flavorful? Is it?
I think it was very flavorful, but also like the melting point of it allowed it to be really useful for all kinds of things, like coating leather.
Okay.
And, like wagon wheel grease, all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Like it was just a commodity in frontier America that was like worth a lot.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. And so he's like this really, really like. I wouldn't say obsessed, but he's really into like Appalachian history and culture. He grew up, in like Arkansas and all this stuff. And so his podcast is cool because he does like it's not like this podcast where we just sit down and BS. He does like tons of research on a topic, interviews different people, presents it in like a narrative fashion. Like it's really interesting stuff if you like history and stuff like that.
Big history guy, yeah.
So, but anyway, that's him. I think he was on Joe Rogan pretty recently. He's involved with Steven Ranella, who owns Meat Eater podcast and the whole Meat Eater brand, which is like,
not really my thing.
Yeah, not something you'd be spending your weekend on.
I'm not gonna drive home and listen to a Meat Eater podcast. Mm-mm. But I mean, dude, it's actually crazy, man. Is like, I don't know if I should say it. I'm not natty, but
say it.
So when I first became vegetarian, I lost a shitload of weight. I was probably like 195, 196. I got down to like 182-ish or something like that. And like I was like
that's not that much weight.
I mean, it was fucking 14 pounds. I was eating the same amount of food.
Yeah.
If not more. But then I figured it out, right? And like that's the main thing is people were like, oh, I don't know. I can't do vegetarian. I can't do vegan because I can't figure out the diet. I can't get the the protein and whatever. But I figured it out. Got up to like 190, whatever, and I kind of hovered around like 188. But I was stronger than I've ever fucking been. And it was weird because I was like worried about that.
Why do you think that is? Have you found any evidence?
I think it's because I just got older, man. Maturity of my muscle, my training got smarter. I became more knowledgeable. And the thing is that people are like, oh, you're strong for a vegetarian. I was like, well, I did build my foundation for 25, 26 years.
Right.
Eating meat.
Yeah. It's just like these countries that build their wealth with capitalism and then switch to more socialistic systems, and they're like, see, look, socialism works here. And it's like you're using the fruits of that capitalism. It's going to run out.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
But I mean, but then like recently, man, is like I wasn't sure if I was going to say it on the podcast, but I started my first cycle, and
steroids.
Well, yes, but more like it's very basic, dude. You know what I took. It was very basic, but dude, I can't fucking believe how strong I got. And
funny thing about steroids is that they work.
Well,
they haven't stuck around all this time for no reason.
So, and here's the thing, and like Dave knows this about me, is I was so fucking anti-steroids. I think we did a little quick talk with Greg years ago about it. I'm like, nah, fuck that, I'll never take it.
You're like, I'm going to be a natty pro.
Yeah, well, the thing is, man, is like that was my goal, is to compete naturally again. But then as you deal with injuries and stuff like that, it's like I might not compete again.
Well, and as you get older as a man too, your natural test levels start to decline.
Right. So I gained 22 fucking pounds. I gained 20 pounds in the first 5 weeks. I was eating a shitload of food and whatever. But dude, 22 pounds in 5 weeks. I gained more lean tissue in 5 weeks than I did in probably 7 or 8 years. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, it was the coolest fucking feeling in the world. Because, and the reason why I say that is because, the reason why I say that is because, you finally see your hard work paying off. And, I could have been grinding and grinding for as a natural, if you're grinding and you get 1.5 pounds of lean body mass a year, dude, that's fucking good. Mm-hmm. That's good. Put to see 12 in 5 weeks, bro. It's fucking insane.
It is.
I know all the 20 pounds I gained in 5 weeks wasn't, it wasn't all muscle.
Lean tissue.
Yeah, but when I came off, I only lost 4 pounds.
Right.
So, and I'm leaner than I was at 189 or 188. I'm 205 now. And man, like, it's cool to see. And I'm not advocating for steroids, by the way.
Sounds like you are.
I am. I think that. But again, I trained naturally for 17 years before I even thought about it. I think
that's an important thing people need to listen to when he says that. Like, that's very important.
I trained naturally for 17 years. I coached people. I prepped people. I did the research. I learned. I don't want to say I reached my natural genetic limit. I don't want to say that. I think that I reached a point where I was like, you know what, man? I want to just see what it's like. I just want to see what it's like. And like, it's been insane.
Do you now, having experienced it, do you wish you had done them earlier?
No. Because I got to like fucking grind, dude. Mm-hmm. I got to grind and grind and grind for that 15 extra pounds a year on my squat, to get to 315 pounds naturally, on a bench press, to be able to deadlift close to 500. I got to do that as a natural, and like I could say that, mm-hmm. I could say I don't look good just because of steroids. I looked good before that,
right?
And I think that. Do I wish I would have done it earlier? No, man, because I'm in my 30s now. I trained naturally for, again, 17 years. I competed naturally. I prep people naturally. And this is like just the next step in my fitness journey. Will I ever run like a legit, real fucking cycle?
I mean, I think you are.
Yeah?
I would say you're pretty legit with how you're running.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, I don't know. I don't fucking know, man. Yeah. And it's cool. So this is like the next step for me. It's like, now I get to learn more shit, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you're like a believer in this shit too, man, where it's like, you always want to be learning something and progressing yourself, right? And obviously drugs are drugs, but this is what I fucking love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and I follow bodybuilding fucking religiously, dude. I send you fucking 17
all day long,
man. I love it.
Yeah,
I fucking love it. So I want to just see what it was like. And honestly, I have zero regrets, man. And do I wish I maybe would have competed again naturally, maybe one more time? Yes. With injuries and stuff, I don't think it was possible.
Yeah. Now,
but what? Again, I was asking this earlier. What happens if I'm a crazy genetic responder? And I blow up to 215 and I'm fucking 12% body fat. That's like, holy shit, and we got something here. But that potential would never have been realized if I didn't give it a shot. So I now that that's out there.
Now that that's out there.
I mean, I'm not shy about it, man. If someone asks me and they're like, dude, you got pretty big, I'm like, yeah, man, I started taking some shit. Yeah. It's just like I'll never tell people what I take.
It feels good, man. When I was finally just honest about it, like honestly, like it feels like a weight is
bro.
lifted.
I'm fucking 3 months in.
Yeah.
So,
but it's liberating to just be completely honest. And honestly, like when I first posted about it, because I think that most people probably suspected it, right? Like if you know what to look for. Yeah. But I had so many people message me like, thank you for being honest about this. I wish more people would, blah, blah, blah.
I don't look like I'm taking them, though, yet.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
You're getting there, dude. Especially when you're, like, pumped in the gym and stuff. Like, that stuff starts to be noticeable. I wanted to ask you this. Now that you have experienced them, is there anything that has happened that's been unexpected, good or bad, that you weren't anticipating?
As dumb as this might sound, I do every little thing that I feel that kind of feels different, I worry about. Especially, dude, think about all the deaths that have just happened. You know,
you mean like physically? If you're I feel tired today.
Yeah, it's
that
like,
kind of stuff.
Oh shit! Like, I have like a little feeling in my oblique. Like, is that fucking normal? Like, and I'll text my buddy.
Is that a heart attack?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like, you know, fucking. Unfortunately, you know, John Meadows just passed, and like, and now he had previous like, but Dallas obviously, and like, I mean. Someone else just passed. I can't remember his name.
Rich Piana passed.
Yeah, and you know, it's just
been
like
quite a few.
No, I know that I'm nowhere near the level of like levels of what they were taking, but it's still in my body.
Taking grams of gear plus, you know, recreational drugs.
Yeah,
at least in the case of Rich.
Yeah.
You know.
So other than that, man, like positively, like I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about jerking off?
You can talk about whatever you want. I have talked about jerking off on this podcast.
Okay,
so.
Bro, my first cycle. When I was on 400, I couldn't keep my dick out of my hand, dude.
So that's 400 milligrams of testosterone per week, right?
Yeah. Like so
your libido went crazy.
Fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
I like clockwork. I'd see an ass chick on Instagram and jerking off, dude. Like it was.
Yeah, it's tough being on gear in the age of Instagram.
Oh, dude, it's
real
bad.
tough.
It's bad. But I mean, that was. I felt like I was fucking like 20, 21 again, dude. You know, it's just like, holy shit. But bro, I felt
puberty libido.
Yeah, but I felt good though. I didn't feel like, dude. Do you remember the first time you walked in the gym when you took steroids?
Oh yeah,
dude. You feel like the fucking man, right?
You really do.
Yeah, yeah. And like I'm seeing these gains now, and I'm sending to you. You're like, I remember my first cycle, but it's like, dude, you remember your first cycle?
There's
it was
nothing,
cool as fuck.
There's nothing that compares, honestly. In terms of, you'll never experience that feeling in the gym again, because it's your first time ever training with more hormones present in your system.
Yeah,
and
at 31, dude.
Yeah, I was in my mid-20s. I did one cycle, and then I came off for years because I wanted to have a child. And you obviously can have children if you run gear, but it's just safer for, you know, to make sure. And then I started up again a couple years ago. But I cannot recommend enough that people like you know, wait until you're later in life. Wait until you've done what you can naturally, at least to an extent. Yeah. Learn how to train. Learn how to eat. Learn how to grow without assistance, because the time is going to come where your natural test will decline, and you will, if you want to continue to grow and to progress, you'll have to do something. Well,
and that's the thing, and that's why when you asked me if I wish I did it earlier and I said no, man, it's because I knew macros. I knew how to train. I knew how to dig in terms of, and when I say dig, I mean
effort.
I knew how to cut. I knew how to bulk. I knew all that shit. And I think I did it the right way. And again, like dude, like you said, I don't think even when I was like 15 and I started, bro, I don't think I experienced that. Yeah. I don't think I experienced that.
Definitely not.
Like, it was just like, it wasn't even that you looked better. It's just how you fucking felt, dude.
Yep.
Like, you just knew that you're going to go in there and you're going to have a fucking workout, dude. No matter, like, bro, I'd be hungover and I'd be able to go to the gym and have a fucking workout, you know? I try not working out when I'm hungover. But, like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, man, it was awesome. And I think the way I went about it was, again, like, I'm happy with the way I did it. It feels weird to talk about not being natural, dude, to be honest with you. It really does. Because you know how against it I was for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
well, it feels weird talking about it in general because, I mean, let's face it, like, unless you're doing, like, physician-prescribed TRT, it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's still illegal.
Yeah.
So it is weird to talk about it. And it has this stigma attached to it. But I think it's getting better and better as far as that goes. I mean, people are more forthright about it. You know, Joe Rogan openly says, I take testosterone and growth hormone, you know, and it's becoming more normalized as, like, look, if you're a guy in your 30s, 40s, 50s, like, time to start considering it, you know, testosterone replacement.
I'm glad that I never jumped in because of, again, what we talked about earlier, seeing shit on Instagram. I did it on my own terms.
Yeah.
I did it when I was ready. You
were very cautious and calculated, and you made sure you did everything right.
Yeah. and again, but that's what I fear about Instagram and seeing these guys.
Yeah.
You know, that's like one thing I fear is like getting, because dude, you see these guys with gyno because like they're just like, I want to look like that. So they're shooting and like they're not taking AIs. They're not, you know, and it's just like they're getting gyno. They're getting fucking acne at 18, 19 years old, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're having like, then they're having like the hormone imbalances and stuff. And it's like, I can't express how happy I am that I fucking waited and did it on my own terms when I was ready.
And that's important. It's a very serious thing. It's not a decision you should take lightly.
Correct.
You run the risk, if you're a young man, of suppressing your endogenous testosterone production for the rest of your life. Some guys get shut down, and they're shut down forever just by running one cycle. Most guys don't, right? But it's a possibility. And that means you may not be able to have kids. Like, there's all kinds of ramifications that come from injecting, using a needle, right? Like, this is serious stuff. You're injecting hormones into your body. So just do your research. Take it very seriously. It's nothing to take. It's not like you're starting to add creatine monohydrate into your program. Like,
right.
It's so different, you know. And I hate when people kind of talk about steroids and other like performance enhancing just supplements kind of in the same conversation, because when you're talking about injecting hormones into your body, it's so different from, you know, your protein shake or your creatine or your glutamine or whatever the fuck else, and your vitamins and all that. Like, they're totally different worlds. I mean, you're talking about altering the fundamental chemistry of your body and the hormones that make you who you are. So it's definitely something you should take very seriously and not take lightly. And that's exactly what you did.
And I'm grateful that so funny enough, man, it works for me because I have people who I can reach out to who I feel comfortable with, who've been doing it.
Yeah. It's
like, bro, look at what just happened to me. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Like, bro, this has happened to me 100 times. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's still sore where I injected. Is that okay? Am I
No,
gonna
man,
die?
fuck that. No, dude, that shit was bad. Like, dude, bad. It was.
Is this where I pin my glute? Is this where I pin my delt?
At least I'm asking.
100%. And I encourage anybody to, like, find a, quote, mentor or a friend who's got experience with it, or, like, I mean, you should absolutely consult a physician if you're trying to get on TRT. But, I mean, there's so many resources that you can tap into that it's stupid if you just wing it these days.
But, I mean, people, dude, you know this, man. You fucking know this. People don't want to think for themselves. They don't want to do the research. Hence why we're in the fucking situation we're in right now, dude.
Uh-oh. We're going to go down that road?
No.
What situation?
I don't want to go down that road, man. Fuck, we'll be here for another 2 hours.
Yeah, I think we've been here an hour already, so... man, we definitely got to bring you back in. There's all kinds of stuff we can talk about.
Yeah.
But no, it was good to have you on and talk
that.
about this topic. This is obviously something that you and I talk about like constantly offline. So it was cool, and I hope people get some value from this. I know it's a little more niche. Like, you may not know who Chris Bumstead is, or Ian Valle, or like all these people we've talked about, or John Meadows, or whatever. Personalities in the bodybuilding industry, but I hope you take something from this, you know, if you're not sort of in that world. And anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, man, it was fun. I think, like you said, there's something you could take from this, whether, you know, it's understanding that not every vegan.
Oh yeah, we talked about that too.
Yeah, not every fucking vegan or vegetarian is an extremist. You know, just like...
Well, not every vegetarian is.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, dude...
I'm joking. I love vegans. I love you guys.
Well, I know that I know a lot of vegans. Like, there's a vegan who's like one of my best friends, man, and she's cool as fuck about it. You know, like, she'll be like, ew, that's gross, but she's not going to be like, come up to you and be like, why are you eating that? You know?
Right.
And, like, I think it's important to hear it from someone who's not in that realm. You know? I think it's cool to hear, like, what... someone who's experienced thoughts on, like, Instagram. And especially from your perspective too, and then someone who literally just ran a first fucking cycle, dude. Like, it was fun to talk about. It is weird for me to talk about it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did.
That's okay. Nobody listens to this.
Even if they did, man, it's just like it'd be cool if people like reach out to me for advice on that and like what I did and like how I approached it.
Well,
because,
where can people find you?
So yeah, oh wow, this is gonna be tough. My Instagram is at Adam Piscitello. So
right, spell that.
It's ADAM. It's a PISCITELLO. That's my name is Adam Piscitello.
And I'll put that in the show notes too for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, dude, if anybody has questions and like, you know, what my thought process was going through that decision, my decision to become vegetarian, like my thoughts on it, I am fully open to those conversations, man.
Right on. Well, thanks a lot, brother. We'll definitely bring you back on. We can make it a regular thing.
Yeah.
Shit, I love talking about this stuff. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.